I've got a vehicle running from us.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to work in law enforcement? From deputies on patrol, what it's like to work in corrections, dig into some cold case investigations, and reveal the multitude of untold stories of how our officers give back to the community. All stories from your neighbors, the hard-working men and women who serve the citizens of York County.
I can back 144 on 5.
This is YCSO Behind the Badge, the official podcast of the York County Sheriff's Office. Welcome to YCSO Behind the Badge. I'm Trent Ferris, Public Information Officer for the York County Sheriff's Office, and also your host. And as always, please go check us out on our social media pages. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. That's where you can also listen to us there as a video cast if you don't have a specific podcasting service. And lastly, sign up for those Notify Me alerts straight to your phone and email at yorkcountysheriff.com, because if a major event happens in the county and that we feel needs your immediate attention, we can send you notifications to your area. Well, we're back to the normal podcasting schedule this week. And if you've been keeping up with our podcast, we took the past 2 weeks to feature the Many Heroes documentary that's on YouTube, because this month is a tough month for the friends and family of Mike Dodie, who was killed in the line of duty 3 years ago this month. But through tragedy, many good things emerge over the course of 3 years, one of which is the 809 Foundation. So across the table from me is Chris Dodie, the brother of Mike Dodie, and he's here to talk to us about the 809 Foundation, which was birthed out of heartbreak, really. I mean, something tragic, and this good thing came out of it. So welcome to the podcast, first of all. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And first, I forgot to mention this to you before we started recording, and I should have done that, is that this is Behind the Badge. And for folks that don't know, you are an employee here. So you do work for the Sheriff's Office, and we always ask folks who come here who are employees, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into law enforcement, why you got into law enforcement, and touch on what you do, because I know your position here might be a little off the in the secret squirrel realm, maybe. No, not really. No. Okay, that's fine. So tell us a little bit about you first.
So I started here at the Sheriff's Office back in 2004.
Oh, you have to think about it.
Yeah, December 2004.
Wow.
Yeah, and worked at Carowinds before, like many of the other people here at the Sheriff's Office.
A lot.
From the sheriff down, actually.
That's right. He was Scooby-Doo, wasn't he?
That's right.
But also park security, if I'm
yes.
So you weren't Scooby-Doo, you worked park security, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Part of the Carowinds Mafia, as we get called.
That's right.
But anyway, so worked there, and I think met a bunch of people from the Sheriff's Office and from CMPD, guys I'm still friends with now. But I think that kind of working there and seeing them, drew me into it. It specifically drew me to the Sheriff's Office. But really, I mean, like anybody else, it's kind of cliche to say, but just make a difference.
Yeah. I mean, that's
it. Keep the community safe. So, yeah. So, like I said, 2004, worked at Patrol Division for 12, 13 years, 14 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right.
And was supervisor when I left there, and then been in working multi-jurisdictional drug enforcement unit now. So I've been there for a couple of years.
And a little unknown fact, if that's okay to ask, is that you also serve in the Air National Guard?
Air National Guard.
Air National Guard.
Yes.
And so you do that on the side too.
Yeah,
so
my free time.
A life of service is what you would like to call it. So, well, good. And we're, like I said, we're glad to have you here. Sorry to throw that out on across the table at you at first, but that's good. That's good. And little known fact about me, I worked at Carowinds about 2 months. When the Hurler ride was there, back when Wayne's World was there. And I thought, well, it was the summer before I went into the Navy, and I was like, well, I need a job before I go into the Navy. And then I got there, and I said, I'm not going to run a roller coaster for just 2 months before I ship out to the Navy. And so I worked there for like not even 2 months. It was like a month just running that roller coaster. Basically got my uniform, ran the roller coaster twice, and then left. So anyway, so we all had a little bit of Carowinds, history amongst us all here.
Yeah.
but I didn't work security. But anyway, that's not why you're here today. You're here to talk about the 809 Foundation. And tell us how we know how it got started, but what was the point where you sat down after this tragic event and said, dude, y'all, let's do this? How did it start?
It was actually brought to us.
Mm-hmm.
So Jonathan Mosley, who's a detective here at the sheriff's office, and his wife Lisa, both of which worked at Carowinds with us. That's going to be a common theme.
That's fine.
But so they worked at Carowinds with Mike and I, and so we've been friends for we were since 2000.
Yeah.
So after after everything happened, things started to settle down. Mm-hmm. As much as they can.
Yeah, sure.
The John and Lisa came to us and to the family and said, "Hey, we want to start a foundation," and we've started preparing. Yeah. And they had written the covenants and designed a logo, and we're like, we want to continue things that Mike was passionate about.
Right.
So,
and for folks who don't know, who we do have listeners from that all over the country and everything, 809 was Mike's call number when he was in the multi-jurisdictional drug enforcement unit. So his call number was 809. So hence the name 809 Foundation. Got it. So so from there, y'all, you said sure, yeah. I mean, and you said you started it because of the things that Mike was passionate about. What were those things?
He was huge with the Explorer program at the sheriff's office, which is, I guess, comes somehow it's associated with Boy Scouts of America, and it comes at it, but it teaches leadership and mentoring and developing young people, preparing them for whether it be jobs in law enforcement, but also just life skill,
right?
Being honorable, having good morals, just normal stuff. So, and then also he was over the Narcan program at the sheriff's office.
We talked about that.
So we've talked about that before, and I know it gets mentioned, so that was a lot that he did. Worked with Keystone with that. Yeah. So, so those are the two big things that Mike was passionate about that we continue to do, and then one of the other unfortunate, but at the same time fortunate, we're able to make donation to families when they lose loved ones that are in law enforcement, and also when officers are injured and need assistance. So
not always a line of duty death. It's injuries like a broken arm, that kind of stuff.
If it's a line of duty injury,
line of duty injury.
If it happens and then the Sheriff's Foundation has a different fund that does for.
And you're a big supporter of the Sheriff's Foundation because we were at the golf tournament a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Gosh, not even weeks. It's probably months ago now.
Yeah, it was
October. November, right? And we talked to you a little bit there.
Yep.
And if anybody heard that podcast, and we touched on the 809 Foundation there. So, so sadly, this year we've had 3 officers in South Carolina die in the line of duty. It doesn't matter if you were shot, but these 3 individuals died in car accidents.
Traffic related.
Traffic related. And I think there was a couple in North Carolina that had some issues.
There were.
Is that something that the 809 Foundation has supported?
Again, fortunate, unfortunate.
Unfortunate, yes. Okay.
And having been through the loss of a loved one in law enforcement, obviously my family gets it. It hurts regardless, but our family gets it a little bit closer.
Oh yeah,
because we've experienced it so personally. But through that, you make connections and build relationships. And fortunately, one of the recent ones this year was we were able to help quickly. And there was need, so it helps. Like someone mentioned to me. Us being able to do that, helps a little as a family.
Most definitely.
And because we're being able to continue to make a difference. Yeah. And especially, during the month of January.
And I mean, I'm sure it does, folks who receive that unfortunate gift from the 809 Foundation. I mean, you never know what it could help with, and I'm sure anybody involved. I bet you don't even want to have to help an officer. I mean, that's not the point here.
No.
But it's it's a thing. If you work in law enforcement, there's the chance that something bad might happen to your family member. So you're there to support. And we don't want it to happen, but you're there to support. And, so good. Well, I mean, so 3 years now. I mean, what have you done? I mean, we always have the you see fundraisers all the time.
Unfortunately, not as many.
Well, yeah,
because of COVID.
I think that's ruined everything this year.
Our big fundraiser annually is the Brothers in Blue.
The skeet shooting thing?
Sporting clays.
Sporting clays. Yeah, that's all right.
So we were able to do that. We typically hold that in April, May, but because of COVID, obviously we pushed it. So we ended up having it in October.
Okay. But I'm sure you could social distance at those kind of things.
You can.
So
it's nice that it's outside. So we were able to have it. We had to change things obviously a little bit, but we're still able to have it, and had a great turnout. And we're able and so that allowed us to be able to continue to make a difference.
And that's going to be something yearly.
So actually, we've registration just opened up, and it is April 16th. So 4 short months, 3 short months.
Oh wow! Holy smokes.
So you can registration's open for that. You find that on 809foundation.org.
809foundation.org. If you like the sporting clays and you want to support, go do it. Right there.
Teams, individual shooters, and corporate sponsors.
And
so all that information's out there.
Yeah, and on top of that, y'all work with you said you work with Keystone.
Correct.
And in May 15th, Keystone and 809 Foundation working together about the memorial race.
Yep. So we
Is
are
that a partnership thing.
Well, we are. Obviously, it's named after Mike, in honor of Mike, and we are able to help.
Yeah.
Them
help them. It's a sponsor,
so
sponsoring of sorts. Yeah.
Of sorts. Yeah. So everything that's raised goes to Keystone,
right?
And for them to continue the invaluable work that they do to provide treatment in the Tri-County area.
And I know they had the first one last year, and COVID shut it down.
It ended up being virtual.
And it was virtual. I ran it virtually.
Yep.
And we all did it,
Thankfully, we put everything. Keystone came to us again and said, hey, we want to continue with this and keep it in honor of Mike. We said, absolutely. We love that. We obviously want to have it in person and not have it virtually. So they wrote the proposal, went to town council, Fort Mill Town Council, and Fort Mill approved it last week, actually. For it to be in person in May at Walter Elijah Park.
Yeah.
So in person, come out, run. There'll be a 10K, 5K, and a mile fun run.
Well, the 5K is all I'm going to do this year because my knees. I used to be a pretty avid runner, and I think I wore my knees out. And I'm only a 5K'er nowadays. I used to run crazy, but I'll be there. I'll be there in person this year.
I keep getting pushed to do 10K.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But last year
3.2 is mine.
Last year, even virtually, it was pretty successful from what I hear.
It was.
And Keystone does a tremendous amount of work in the community to help folks with, addiction and battling that and treatments for, people who need treatment or want treatment for addiction. So, May 15th, if you haven't signed up yet, I'm sure you can find it online. It's the Detective Mike Dodie Memorial Run, 5K, 10K. Look it up. You probably find it somewhere. But all right. So you have, to run this kind of organization, you should have a lot of supporters, right? You have some folks that are helping you out. Who helps you all out doing this? Any shout outs to folks? Staff, whatever.
But the John and Lisa obviously on the board.
Yep.
Myself, my brother.
Your older brother.
Older brother.
Yeah,
that's correct. And then. 2 other individuals that were Curtis Cousins, who was good friends in prior law enforcement, but good friends with Mike and I, and then brought in somebody that was a friend of my wife's, or a family friend, who has nonprofit experience.
Oh, well, that's good.
and is a wealth of knowledge, and brought her in, and been going strong for 3 years. So outside of that, just recently, obviously with Sunday being the 3-year anniversary.
Yep.
Huge shout out to Hobos,
Yes.
who continued their Back the Blue
Right.
event for 3rd year in a row, or Blue Out. Sorry, totally. All light bulbs in the building are blue.
Yeah.
And
Saw some pictures. That's pretty. I
It
don't know.
was-
It's kind of cool looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously not as busy as it was last year,
Yeah.
but still phenomenal turnout.
Mm-hmm.
And their continued support has been huge.
Mm-hmm.
So met with them yesterday and got to spend a few minutes talking with Jason and Jill, the owners there. Great people.
Yeah. And it's
continue to
Hobos
do
in
great
Fort
things.
Mill, right
Correct.
there on Main Street. Can't miss it.
Some of our and then Killington's did an event this year,
Mm-hmm.
and that's their 3rd year as well.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody new that jumped on was Slow Play, and
nice.
make a donation. So looking forward to continuing to do great things with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then prior to COVID, one of our other big things was we do a cornhole tournament in
Yes.
downtown Fort Mill. Did a dunking booth.
I was a
and-
part of that the first year.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've been in that. Even in July, it seems that water's cold.
Yeah.
I don't. They have to pipe it from somewhere.
Somewhere. Oh,
Yeah.
I think they said they got
frigid.
it from the.
Well, it came out of the brewery.
the brewery right there on in Fort Mill. Was
Moore.
More, yeah.
Yep. So Moore and Hobos would do the big events, the Main Street parties, and invited us to be a part of them. And Hobos is Moore has been. They officially opened shortly after. Everything happened. Because they're getting ready to celebrate their 3rd anniversary.
Oh, wow.
The end of this month.
Golly.
Seems like they just opened the other day.
Yeah, right.
So, but they've been huge supporter over the years of the foundation, and then so you have your corporate sponsors and people that do events on your behalf, and obviously cannot thank them enough.
All right.
But
That's what we're here for.
Where we come in even more is the volunteers over the years, individuals that go on the website and buy swag.
Yeah.
There's so many small people, or so many people that have done small donations and buying swag and everything else, or just random checks that show up in the mail.
Yeah.
That is so important and allows us to be able to continue.
Yeah.
Corporate sponsors, awesome, but it's the small donations that add up, and,
Right.
and the continued support. Seeing people randomly wearing 809 Foundation.
I see it
stuff,
all
and
the
I'm like,
time.
I don't know who that person is.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for continuing to support the foundation. And I said this recently. Thank you for continuing to support Mike,
Right.
and continue to talk about Mike and keep the memories alive, which keep Mike alive.
Right.
So it's huge support.
And I think we had a little internal sheriff's office memorial gathering on Saturday. If you probably saw it in the somewhere on our social media page, the SWAT team in which Mike was a part of, they had a memorial ruck, which was about 8.09 miles from the cemetery to here at the mosque. But then after that, we all got together as a sheriff's office and we had a memorial. And I think it was the one thing that stuck out to me was, I think he said something along the lines, the day that we forget Mike is a bad day.
Yeah.
And doing what y'all do and doing what we do to keep Mike's memory alive, I think we're going to do it. Even from like 50 to 60 years from now, when none of us are working here, I'd hope that the person who's sitting in this position or the guy who's sitting in the big chair as a sheriff 50 years from now will continue to keep Mike's memory alive because of what we're doing right now, the foundation of getting this going. Not just the 809 Foundation, but the foundation of keeping Mike's memory alive. So hopefully that what we're doing now lasts 50, 60, 100 years from now. So.
Make a lasting impression.
So,
like Mike did. So,
well, yeah. I mean, so you talked about volunteers and support. I mean, how can somebody do that if they're listening to the podcast from here in York County? our friend Sherry Daly that used to work here, lives in Great Britain. I think that's our listener in Great Britain. I think that's the one person in Great Britain
we've got.
Yeah, how can somebody volunteer to help the 809 Foundation?
Like I said, 809foundation.org.
Mm-hmm.
Scroll down on the right, look for shop.
Mm-hmm.
Some gear. Actually had a foundation board meeting last night and just placed an order for some hats.
Nice.
Something we've never offered before.
Like the one you're wearing now?
It is exactly
That's
like
pretty
the one
sweet,
I'm
man.
wearing.
That's pretty sweet.
Shout out to my nephew who actually designed it.
I'm going to have to get my wife to get on board and say, hey, babe, I need one of those hats.
Yeah, I'll let you know when they come in.
All right.
And then outside of that, obviously still with COVID being around and vaccine, being a hot topic and rolling out as quickly as possible, hopefully. The clay shoot.
Yeah.
Coming up, like I said, in April. We can always use volunteers for that.
Volunteers.
If
not just shooters, but the volunteers to put
volunteers,
it on.
Yep. So
yeah.
A couple things we had to change last year was like the way we did food. Instead of people coming up and serving themselves, we would package and have it ready to go. So and that just takes time. Set up, tear down, it takes time.
Boxing up food,
Yep.
so on and so forth.
We setting up tents, tables, chairs, spacing things out, stuff like that. So
Sign
right
up.
now that'd be the biggest thing. Volunteer for that, and then like I said, outside of that, just checking out the website.
Yeah.
Hopefully, sooner than later, we can get back to doing.
Go get your shot.
Hopefully, get involved in the downtown events and get those back up and running.
Yeah, because they're big. I mean,
try to
people
do the
come from
cornhole
all
tournament
over.
again.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. We had guys coming in from the well outside of York County to come play in that cornhole tournament.
It was a big deal.
Yeah, we were very, very thankful for the turnout both times. So it was a good time.
So, man, see, time really flies by when you're having fun and talking about your brother. So, I mean, we're getting there. We're getting there. But anyway, I mean, this is good. This is good. Anything else you want to talk about the 809 Foundation as far as for folks to needing to know?
Just some of the other things we've been able to do over the years. So we talked about Keystone.
Yep.
We're going to be getting together with them. Actually, got to reach out to them today and get something set up so that we can continue to show them our support. And then outside of that, we've special organization up in Charlotte. It's called Kindermorn. That my family was introduced to after, shortly after the events of 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And so they provide counseling service to family when they lose a loved one.
Kindermorn?
Kindermorn.
Kindermorn.
They do a big. We've been able to help them.
Okay.
We're able to make a donation to sponsor children. They'll provide service for free.
Wow.
But then they ask if you can pay, will you pay?
Yeah.
And it's a small amount for the service they provide. But we wanted to make sure that nobody felt obligated.
Right.
And so we were able to make a donation to them and on behalf from the foundation in honor of Mike to be able to take care of some kids.
Yeah.
Let them heal.
Yeah, because that's
and it's like I said, it's that organization's been beneficial to multiple people in my family.
Yeah.
And continues to be to this day. And they check them out. They do, like I said, they do great things. And their big fundraiser was virtual this year, but they do.
it's a recurring theme here.
Yes,
everything's virtual. Yeah,
they do a big event at the Whitewater Center, U.S. Whitewater Center.
Oh yeah,
up in Charlotte, West Charlotte, and it's a duck float.
Oh.
You sponsor a duck, and they throw a bunch of plastic duckies in the water and let them race.
And if I that's right. You write your name on it, or whoever makes it. Okay,
so,
it's pretty cool.
Check them out. Hopefully they'll.
It's like kinder, as in kindergarten, like kinder.
Yep. Kinder.
Mourne or morn MOU. I don't know.
I think it
Kindermorn.
You're gonna make me think, and then I'm gonna be wrong.
I just want to make sure whoever's listening, they just like, I want to get this right on the internet. I'm sure they can Google it,
yes,
or type it somehow in Google says, "Do you mean you? Did you mean kindergarten? No, I meant Kindermorn." So hopefully somebody will figure that out. But,
Yep, KINDERMORN. Just see, Google it just like I did.
Yeah. Good. See? And then sometimes Google will tell you, did you mean to type that?
Yeah.
No. Yes, I did. I did mean to type that. But good. Well, man, it's last chance. Anything else? I mean, other than, some more other supporters and stuff?
No, we mentioned it quickly in the beginning with the Explorers program.
Yes.
But we've been able to sponsor some kids.
Yep.
Through for the camp that they go to in the summer. Obviously, they didn't. We've been able to make some donations as well to the actual overall organization to help offset some of their cost when they do the camps.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, again, because of COVID, they didn't get to have it this year.
Well, and that's interesting you say it. I remember going. One of my first experiences with your brother was one year he needed. He had to come back early from that camp. And it was a year that one of our Explorer cadets got an award. Yep. And so I rode up there with Major Hudgens, and we got there, but he couldn't ride back for some reason. I can't remember what it was, but he had said, "Man, you got to do this online application, and you got to fill out this form, and you got to do this just so you can drive the van back from somewhere eastern North Carolina all the way back here." And I forget the name of the town, but it's the police academy over there in eastern North Carolina. Salemburg, that's it. And so that was quite the trip back, and I did that for him because he needed somebody to drive it, and he knew I was going to be up there with the major, and the major was going to drive back, and I'd drive, and for a bunch of kids who have been it's basically boot camp light for police cadet kids, and for some reason they
were exhausted,
and I was the only one awake in the van. And one of our Brittany May, who works for SLED now, she actually stayed awake a few times to keep me awake, on that ride back. But yeah, he used to go there. Mike used to be there like a cadre or a counselor or something. Instructors, every year. Yep. And you would see a picture. One of our cadets would get an award or get something, and he'd be right there taking a picture with them. Yep. And a couple of we have several employees now who went through the Explorer program. So if you're interested, I think it's not Explorers anymore. It's like Public Safety Cadets.
Yeah, I think they changed it.
They changed the name or something. Public Safety Cadet Program. If you want any information about that, it's on our website, YorkCountySheriff.com. Look for Sheriff's Foundation. You can find it under the Services tab, or just search for it, and you can find it and find out. And it's from like kids who are 15 years old to up to 21, I believe.
You can be involved up until your 21st birthday.
21st birthday, yeah. And it gives you since you can apply to be a police officer at 21, that gives you a good taste of what it's like to be, in law enforcement, to see if you really want to do it.
They do a lot of the same training that we do annually.
Yeah.
And that's because that's part of what they compete in when they go to the camp in the summer. They compete in stages or various aspects of what we do every day in law enforcement.
Which is a great program. So if you want to get your kids involved in that, do so. And they do a lot of service, too, because this past Christmas, they all collected Christmas cards. Yep. And signed them, put them in envelopes. They didn't lick them because of COVID, but they stuffed the envelopes and sent the envelopes to nursing homes throughout the area, because the folks who are living in assisted living facilities, sometimes they don't get a Christmas card or even Christmas anything. So they sent Christmas cards to all the assisted living facilities that I can think of in York County, which is pretty cool. So it's also service oriented. So get your kids involved in that. And Mike was a big supporter of it. Last question before we go, since we're talking about service and we're talking about getting your feet wet in law enforcement, we always ask our guests the last question is, if anybody that you are listening that may be on the fence, considering a career in law enforcement, what would you tell them? Like, hey, why would you sell it to them, I guess? Sell it to them what you would say why you should get into law enforcement, especially, with your experience.
Well, yeah.
With your experience in today's climate.
Today's climate would be obviously I think is a big deterrent, unfortunately.
Yeah, sadly.
But if you're remotely interested in law enforcement, two things I always tell people. One, make sure that when you apply for the agency's going to do a background check on you.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to make sure that you're, of good moral character and good fit, and make sure you've not done it. You didn't hide anything that you've done in your life. And I always tell people, likewise, you need to do that about the agency. Make sure that the agency is a good fit for you, just as much as you are for them. That being said, I would tell you that the York County Sheriff's Office is a top-notch agency. Not just because I work here, but I've been here for 16 years. I've seen our agency grow. I've seen our agency change, and I've seen our agency better. And we are